Stand by, everyone. We are now about to start with our broadcast. We are now about to begin with our broadcast. So, make yourself comfortable and we will broadcast very soon. Am I now on? Hello, everyone. For those who are watching, I don't know why I'm nervous right now. I think I've been doing this for a long time, broadcasting in this same place, but I have never given a photo class before, and especially not the photo class that is broadcasted and people can watch and rewatch later on. So, um, let's see if this works. Uh, okay, I will. Uh, I will be using my iPad, which is not working. This is strange. This is not working. Oh, we have Houston. We have a problem. Oh, okay. It got disconnected. Oops. See, I feel like a newbie right now. There you are. There. Uh, welcome everyone to our weekend for our fiesta. Just imagine this is another one of our broadcasts, but this time we will be looking at something very specific, and it is not parish related. Well, it is also parish related, but then this time we are going to talk about photography, which is one of my passions as um, um, on my own as a private individual. So they asked me to call our presentation today. Uh, they want to call it Photography 101. Okay, so Photography 101, but I don't think that this is a good and catchy name for what we're going to do today. I think I would rather call it, okay, Fishy Cats and Silly Images. Okay, so that is what we're gonna call our uh, program for today. It is not just photography 101. As you can see, we'll call it fishy cats and silly images, and you can see that each letter of that phrase um, has a different color, so it suggests that this is a mnemonic device. That means it will help us understand what the basic concepts are, at least for me. Okay, so uh, fishy cats and silly images. Okay, so what does that mean for me? So remember that phrase because These are the things that we need to have a checklist for if we want to know the basics of photography. Okay? At least that's for me, right? This is something I just came up this morning. Well, at least the phrase, but this is the checklist that is something that I want all of you to try to remember. So remember, when you remember my cat, you will just remember that we have fishy cats and silly images. FCASI. F stands for focus. So these are the things that we have to make a checklist whenever we take a photo, whenever we click. We need to take care of focus, we need to take care of composition, we need to take care of now. The first two are the prime ones. If you're just going to be using your phones or any automatic photography device, then the first two are the main things that we have to remember. And then, but the other ones, the next ones, the and silly images, these are the three foundations of a good photo. Okay, it's aperture, S is for shutter speed, and I is for ISO. It's for me, this is in order of importance. So maybe the last three are a little bit more technical, and this is for people who are interested in using cameras. But then the last three are something that you can use in order to improve your photography. So remember, okay, fishy cats and silly images, which means focus, composition, aperture, shutter speed, and ISO. I will explain what those are for today. Um, so let's see. Let's start. Okay, let's start. First of all, F is for focus. Focus. This is something I came up with today. A picture may be worth 1,000 words, but if there is no focus, all you have is soup, an alphabet soup. Yes, maybe you can form words, but not a story. Okay? You need focus, first of all. And when I mean focus, there is the technical side of focus. That's at least the very basic understanding of what focus is. But for me, there is an aesthetic sense of focus, because having a picture with a technically focused image is not the only thing that is important for photography. There are some pictures that are not focused at all, and I will show you some of those photos. But um, at the heart of it all, basic, the first thing that you need to know is to focus. First, to make sure that your camera is properly focused on the subject. And at least for you, you know what the subject is. You know what your focus is. For example, if I just speak for 10 minutes, I don't think that you will like what I'm saying if there is no central idea, there's no focus, there's no direction. So the important thing there is focus. So there is bad focus. Okay? There is bad focus. This is an example of a badly photographed device. A few years ago, I was asked to be the assistant coach of a celebrity football match. I'm the assistant coach, and I asked somebody to take my photo. So that is the wonderful photo that I have among one of those who played. Okay? So that's one of them. So bad focus happens. Okay? So, uh, oops, that's not right. Okay, see, I'm not focused. I pressed on the wrong button. Okay? I should have pressed my iPad. I'm betting this is a little bit too technical for someone who is both director and the newscaster, and also the one taking care of the graphics. So focus is something that you cannot. I'm sorry, that is a wrong thing. Okay, you cannot ordinary correct. Okay, I have to. Oops, that's a wrong thing. I lost focus there. And know how your camera works. Okay, that's bad focus. Let's give an example of good focus. Okay, this is a photo of my niece, and if you all you see is tiger, this is our family dog, and that is Hugo. Okay, but focus makes or breaks a photo. Okay, focus makes or breaks a photo. So you need to make sure that you are properly focused. And if you're taking photos of people or pets, make sure that you focus on the eyes. Okay? Look, right now, I have the camera focused on me. Okay, and you see the background is out of focus. But we'll go to that later on how we create that effect. But it is important to make sure that the eyes, as you can see in that photo, the eyes is the center. Okay, so see, silly cats. Okay, this silly cat. Uh, this is just a photo from my phone, so it does not matter what camera you use. It can be a professional camera. It can be a good point and shoot. Some of the pictures that we have here is a combination of mobile phone pictures, very old digital cameras, and also point and shoots. So it's not just going to be a showcase of pictures coming from expensive cameras. It has to be. We have to learn these basics, and one of them is focus. And when you focus, especially for people, make sure you focus on the eyes. Okay? Now, how do you focus when you're using a phone? How do you do that? It's very easy. Okay? When you get your I don't know if this will work as a okay. I'll see if my iPad that's the one I'm using for the presentation can be used as a camera. Okay, is it being used as a camera? So okay, I'm using. I want you to see what I'm seeing right now. Okay, so okay. When you want to focus on something, for example, this is your phone. I will press. See, there's a you press on part of the image that you want to focus. This is my microphone, and if I press it, it focuses on that. And if I focus on the tripod, look at, then maybe you can start reading the name, right? Because I focused on that. It's moving, of course. There. Okay, that's a sample of how focusing can happen when you're taking photos using your mobile device. Use your uh, finger, touch the screen. Okay, and if you're using your any other camera, just make sure you know how to focus. Don't just shoot and shoot, so that you will have to make sure that you get a good picture. So, Tin, you got it right. You tap on the area you want to focus. And one of those areas, if you're looking at, for example, if you're this close, for example, and you can see, make sure that you tap on the eye. Okay? Tap on the eye, toot, toot, so that the camera will focus on the eye. And that is how you can create a good photo. Okay? Now, the next thing after uh, after focus, uh, the C. For me, the C means composition. Okay, for me, these are the two basic things. If you in a hurry right now, just listen to this part and leave. No, no, just kidding. I want to show you more of my other pictures so that you can see the basic concepts of photography. But one of the areas that you can check on is composition. Okay, so on composition. Okay, this is a photo I took in the uh, where did I take this? This is in the Hollywood subway station. Okay, so that is an actor. I had a full. This is in a workshop I joined with Joe McNally. Joe McNally is one of my favorite photographers, and many of his images are my favorites. And he gave a workshop on flash photography, and we went on site. So you can see this composition. Look at the backdrop. He is framed by the doors of the subway station, and this actor actually used this photo for his IMDb profile. Okay, for those who are this is a published photo. Okay, so don't just the advice here is don't just shoot, compose. Okay, compose the overall image. Just don't just when you see something, make sure that you just properly angle your camera. You make sure that the ones in the frame, for example, don't let don't make sure that there is a light pole sticking on top of your head. Okay, so compose. And one of the ways that we can compose, some people, especially if you're having a point and shoot and you have a zoom lens, you think that the zoom lens will solve everything when it comes to angles, when it comes to how a picture looks like. No, you have to move. Okay, don't rely on you just stay put, unless, of course, you cannot move. But even though you cannot move, you can move your hands. Okay, there is so that's my second tip about composition. Frame your images well and also move. Don't you rely on the zoom feature of your camera. Don't rely on editing. Okay? You know, a security camera can take photos, but that is a security camera. You are a human being that can move. You can compose. You can make it properly framed. You can never just say, well, I can edit it later. No, you cannot. If the picture is bad at the start, then you have very little to work with. Okay. Remember, I'm going to take away my picture there first. Okay. Okay. Remember, so, uh, we had we had a lot of smoke. Therefore, the sun was giving out a strange color. So this is just a screenshot of the different pictures I took with the same sun. Okay, so just the example of the sun. Oh, it's the sun. I'll take a picture. So I walked. What I did was I got my camera. Then I walked around. I walked around the campus. I went out to the driveway. I went to the field. I went to the edge, and I was able to get a few more photos. So these are the examples. So you can see how varied the pictures are, and that is because I moved. I made different compositions. For example, this is one composition. This is at the edge of the field. This is the eastern edge of the field, wherein I framed the sun against the leaves of the tree. I think that is one of the evergreen trees there. So there you are. So it's a different picture. And then um, you don't just say everybody takes a picture of the orange sun. Okay, everybody takes a picture of the orange sun, but if you go around, maybe you can take pictures that are a little bit different, right? So this is an example of just that's just the chain link fence uh, that is at the edge of the field, the one that is the baseball screen that we have. So composition, okay, composition. That for me is very very essential. So make sure it's focused, or make sure you know what you're focusing on. For me, I focused on the backdrop, which is not just the sun itself, because it's very hard to focus on the sun. But to make it more interesting, uh, I took photos. My focus and in my composition was the different elements that are present. Okay. Um, okay. This is an example. I'll give you a certain a run through of this is a run through of hi Anne. Oh, Anne is one of my collectors. Okay. So these are ideas for composition. Okay. This is not all. Don't so if I give you tips on composition, don't treat this as a comprehensive course that everything I'm telling you are the only ways for you to compose. It depends on your imagination, but maybe these are just a few things in order to guide you in your composition. First of all, frame your image. As you can see, this is a picture taken in Florence. So you see that man walking his dog. Um, I think that man reminds me of Vladimir Putin. But as you can see, it's framed by that side of the. If you are my right side, on my right hand side, that's the Ponte Vecchio in Florence. So this is along the side of Florence, on the main city of Florence. So this is the arcade alongside the river of the Arno River. So you can see that this man is framed by that. That's one way of composing. Look for a good angle. Okay. Okay. Let's go back on that photo. Okay. People misunderstand sometimes how lenses work. Uh, each lens has a specific use. So sometimes you might think that a zoom lens is only to bring you closer, and a wide angle lens is the one to make things wider. Well, generally that is the case. But uh, for this photo that I've shown you, this is a photo of, well, obviously, if you look at the uh, upper third, you see that uh, you see an image of so where how am I gonna point? Okay, okay. You can see that that is in Sydney Harbor, and that is the Harbor Bridge, and on the uh, so you compose that picture side of the bay. I used a 20 millimeter. That's a very wide lens, and I did not just simply stand and take that picture. In order to have that kind of image, I went very low, as in the camera. Okay, the camera is just this far away from the water. Okay, it's very low position in order to for you to have that particular view. So wide angle lens is something that you can use also to be very very close to your subject while still getting everything else. So you can see the water, and in the water, can you widen that? Oops. uh I'm sorry, I made a mistake there. Uh, okay, where did I go? Time out. Okay. Uh, okay. You see that you can have the details of the water, and still you can see where the picture was taken, and you can see the context of the photo. So, move again. That's the number one uh, rule of composition for me. Move, take different angles. Don't just be a camper, right? Those who play video games. We don't like people who are just camping. You're not moving and just waiting for opportunities to come. And probably you're just a security camera. Okay, if you're gonna do that, move, find different angles. Even just a slight change of angle can change the composition of a photo. Okay, for example, if you're taking photos of children, don't shoot it from above. Shoot it in their eye level, and probably that's the best with pets. Um, some of those who are older, uh, they told me they don't like to have their picture taken on a lower angle. They want it a little bit higher. It so there are also techniques when it comes to composition. So the way you take photos, you experiment. So look, you see that when I take photos of my cat, the camera is at the eye level of the cat. Okay, not from above. So it makes it interesting. So Dam is watching. Hi Dam, thank you for supporting our Oktoberfest. For those who are ordering from Thai Barbecue, Dam is watching. And don't worry, Dam, I have a few bird pictures here. I hope that they will come out. Okay. Now, follow the light. Okay. Follow the light. If you see something, um, this is something that you have to take care of, because of course photography is of course, so follow the light is this taken when I was walking in the streets of Lyon. Lyon is a city in probably the Castile region of uh, of Spain. Okay, and I just looked at my side and I saw that that belfry was covered in the golden hour. The golden hour is probably the last 30 minutes before the sun sets. And I saw that the light struck that. And this is probably one of my, um, uh, I have very good collectors that picked up this particular photo and they loved it. Um, um, so there are this is a photo that I like. It's very simple. The camera was not the best camera I had, but this was a very to demonstrate how light works. So that's one more. When you're taking photos, take notice of how light works. Also, um, wait a minute. Okay. What else? Next. Uh, don't put your pictures only at the center. When you compose your images, sometimes you just look at that particular photo. Okay, this was taken in Wappinger Falls. Oh, no, Wappinger, the town of Wappinger in New York. So it's not yet upstate New York. It's still part of the Archdiocese uh, of New York. So this is um, still in before Poughkeepsie. So I think when you go above Poughkeepsie, that becomes upstate New York. But this is in Wappingers. Um, it's along the Hudson line in New York, and there's a home of one of the parishioners in that parish where I worked, where they had bird feeders, and so this is one. Look at composition. Okay, where is the chipmunk located? The chipmunk is not at the center, and it's because if you put it at the center, the eyes will not really like it. So I place it somewhere on the lower third, both on the horizontal plane and the vertical plane, right? So, uh, so for example, when it comes, this is why usually stand here. I'm not at the center whenever I broadcast. I broadcast a little bit here so that I follow the composition of the rule of thirds. I'm this on this third, and my eye is probably on this upper third. Okay? You see, even in the way we compose this frame of our broadcast, we follow that rule of thirds. And in this composition, you follow the rule of thirds. And that is the example that we have for the rule of thirds. Okay? So, uh, let's have maybe a run through of some photos that I have when it comes to composition. Uh, okay. This is a photo I took in Bethlehem. As you can see, the people are framed by the line for you to see the place where the nativity is. And before me were Bulgarian uh, Bulgarian Orthodox pilgrims, and they were wearing very colorful, very cool. And the woman who turned, okay, uh, the woman who turned on the right side, see the person third that made the photo. That's part. And then on the foreground, you don't notice it. Um, on the foreground picture, are actually my image, part of my image group, Filipinos, and they were wearing black. Uh, they were there to frame the foreground, and then the backdrop will be those in their colorful costumes. Okay, so part of the position. This was taken. Okay, let's take myself out of that. So this is from Marina del Rey. This is the summer cruise on the evening. That is already in the evening. That's already 8 o'clock in the evening. But you see how they're framed. And this is a simple snapshot I take. I took of our OLF kids. You see that the girl. This was probably 7 years ago. So I think these kids. I don't know if these kids are graduates already. You see, they even have those older uniforms. But look at I focused on the girl on the third, on the right third of the photo. Okay? Now, aperture. Okay. As I mentioned earlier, those are the first two that are important for me. If you're starting with photography, focus first with those two things. No pun intended. Focus and composition. So, if you want to learn photography, go around, learn how to frame, learn how to find what is your focus. Don't just take pictures and pictures. So that when we look at the feeds in our social media accounts, we're not just going to take pictures. And when I mean focus, I have 3 points when it comes to focus, okay? I said that there's the technical side of focus. We're clear about that. There is the aesthetic sense of focus. And then also when you post pictures, don't just post all your photographs, okay? Well, if you like to dump everything, for you to make your photography interesting, choose simply the best pictures that you have. If you're taking a picture of one single thing and you post 10 of them, then probably the focus that they will have to the quality of your photos will be diminished. So probably take just select, just focus on posting one picture of a particular scene. Or you don't have to post everything, including the bad ones. Okay, I have taken bad pictures. Okay, uh, but maybe for your sake too, you don't have to post everything, including the bad ones. So we enter now into the area which is something that will be helpful. So I mentioned those two things. I mentioned that focus helps. Yes, a picture with 1,000 words is worth 1,000 words, but 1,000 words will just be 1,000 words, right? So if you want to make a story, and probably that can be one way for us to think about photos. A photo has to make a story and give us a story, and that story has to be clear and properly composed, right? Now, the next elements that I'm going to give you is how to make it even better. So you have to understand these basic concepts. And one of those basic concepts will be the concept of aperture. A camera has an aperture. So, uh, what is an aperture? Also known as an f stop. Okay, it's compared to the iris of the eye. Um, I don't have I think a black black eye. So my eyes, I think are generally of a dark color. It's a brown, and so you cannot see my iris. But I will give you an example of what the iris is. So you will see it's the opening of your eye. So an f-stop is like that. It's the iris of the camera, and the brighter it is, the brighter the surrounding is for you. Your eye compensates. So if it's bright, your iris is small. If it's dark, your iris becomes larger. So in cameras, the smaller f-stop number is the larger aperture. So again, I told uh, fishy cats. Oh, so look at the eyes of the cat. You see that there are two numbers. Okay. This might be counterintuitive when it comes to the have a higher number. It is a more opening is smaller. Look at the cat aperture. That's a higher aperture, but that means iris is smaller. So the eyes of the cat adjusts. That's an automatic camera. And it's uh, the eye of the cat adjusts. It becomes wide. Okay, it's a smaller number for a camera. Okay, of course, playing with the light. So if it's dark, then you might think that it's the best way to capture a photo in a dark scene is to have a very wide aperture. Aperture is opening. If the opening is wide, then you can take in more light. And then the smaller one if it's bright, so you can control things. But it also has an effect on the overall image itself. It's not just on light. Okay. Um, I'm gonna okay of actual photos wherein you have um, scenes taken with a wide aperture and with a small aperture. So in Santiago de Compostela, this is that large, um, uh, that is the Botufumero. It is the large sensor. You can see that the person that's taking care of the coals, his he is in focus. The people at the background and at the foreground, they are not in focus. So if you have a wide opening, usually that wide opening means that the focus will just be mainly in the area where you focused, not in the foreground, which is before him, and not in the background that is behind him. Okay, as you can see. That's one effect. I'll give you a similar picture. Okay, this is a like a self-portrait, but I asked somebody else to click it, but I composed the photo. So this is me after our Camino de Santiago. We arrived at the city of Santiago de Compostela, and that is a wide aperture. As you can see, that I am in focus, while the background is out of focus. So that is one effect of your control of the aperture. And the background, there's a term for the background. There's a Japanese term for that. It's called bokeh. Okay, bokeh. Bokeh. Uh, Somebody who Caucasian usually would pronounce it as bokeh, make it as, with a schwa sound, but it's Japanese, and the Japanese pronounce it as bokeh. So as you can see the backdrop. I am sharp, at least I hope so. I am sharp right now in this picture, but as you can see in my background, they are out of focus. So you can focus on me. So as you can see, my aperture right now is an f2.0. Oh, one more example of if you're taking landscapes, of course, smaller aperture. Okay, this is the picture is taken with an f11. See that you everything is influence. So we said impressive. Of course, Wilma, it is impressive. You were in the same city when that picture was taken. Okay, the evening before I took this picture, I had dinner with Wilma and Willie Symbol. Okay, I was there because I was there on my way to Santiago de Compostela, and then I'm taking that plane. But then then we met there because they were there touring Florence. We met at the same place. Okay, so as you can see, this is taken with a small aperture. As you can see, there are values there. This is a picture taken with f11 with a 50 millimeter prime lens. So that is the city of Florence. I said move, don't just part of composition. I had to walk there. Okay, I had to walk going to that particular spot in order to find that. And also, I'm going to give you an example. We're gonna that's pretty standard. Okay, that's a picture of Florence, but the next picture is not typical. After after I took that picture, I met this Australian woman who told me if I'd like to take a unique photo of the Duomo, or the cathedral. Okay, so are we okay? Um, okay, are we broadcasting? Okay, I think let's just make sure that we are still broad. Okay, now there you are. We're back there. Okay, uh, this is a secret uh, place in Florence. Okay, wherein you can get this beautiful alleyway. Uh, yes, there you are. Yes, yes, Stanford. You call it. So I used here. This is a prime 50 millimeter lens. But part of moving, you find good locations, and then the opening here, as you can see, I told you aperture is important. This is taken with an f8. Okay, so if you're taking, I think when you're for those who are taking photos or you take landscapes, I 8 or an 11 will be fine, because the smaller the number, the softer the picture will be. Okay, unless you have no choice and it's very bright, but then you can compensate that with other things. But generally speaking, an 8 or 11 may be fine. That depends on the shot. So the shot with an f11, again 1/80th of a second, and it was taken with a prime lens. This is the cheapest. Uh, uh, the the f the lens, which is 50 millimeter, is the cheapest lens that you can find, which is originally Nikon, and it is also going to yield you very good results. Okay, as a street photographer, I love that lens to bits. Okay, it can give you the okay. Yes. So Stanford Sh. Okay, they pronounce it she or sh. Okay, Stanford, who is one of our youngest, not in age, but he is one of our youngest members in one of our RCIA members. So Stanford, that's true. A prime lens which has no zoom teaches you to move around. So you see the differences of a wide opening and a smaller opening. Okay, next will be shutter. Okay, shutter speed. Okay, there you are. The speed speaks of the amount of time for the exposure. That means the time when the film or sensor is exposed to the light. Okay, it's like the barn door. How long is the door open? So, when it comes to a door, if the door is open, more people will come in. Imagine light will be parishioners. If the door is open, there will be more parishioners coming in. When you close it, of course, parishioners in. So imagine it's like that door. The the faster that you open the door, then only a little bit of light comes in, and maybe that allows you to capture action. As you can see in photo, I hope that you can see it clearly, but you can see that you can actually see water coming out of the mouth of the fish. Okay, so this is a action photo of um of a of a heron. It's a blue heron. This was taken in Bolsa Chica, uh, and that is a fast shot. Now, so this it allows you to catch action. This is a photo taken in Adelaide in Australia. So I had a I had a meeting with the Bishop of Adelaide, and before I had that meeting with the Bishop of Adelaide, I had to I went around the city, and I saw this couple who were running back and forth uh, where the fountains were. And so I set my camera instantly to 1/1600th of a second. Okay, 1/1600th of a second, f3.5, with a 200 millimeter zoom lens. Okay, so there you are. As you can see, if you can see the texture of the water, that speed allows you to capture that particular action, right? This is also an action shot of a bird in flight. So this is 1/1000th of a second. Again, this is in Bolsa Chica with a 400 millimeter lens. Yoli, you can watch it again from the start, but at least you can watch it later also. But this is a bird in flight, so that is where you need your fast. That's where you need your fast shutter speeds. Okay, and so there you are. Now, is fast the only thing? Is the only way to go? Okay, so this is 1/50th of a second. It's moving. So I followed I followed the this is what you call this is the style of photography that is called panning. So as you can see, the speed was enough for me, and I followed the head of the horse. I was able to capture some the focus when it comes to the horse, but everything else, because of the speed, got blurred because of the movement, and that is a style of taking photos. Okay, so and for you to for if I have a very fast speed, I will not be able to get that particular effect. So this was taken in uh, Petra, that in Jordan. Okay, so you see, it's one of my favorite photos. It's the use of panning. Okay, now this is also an example of a slow shutter speed. This is a photo taken at Niagara Falls on the New York side. You can see the water. Okay, the water has because that photo was taken for 15 seconds. Okay, that's a 15-second photo, and that gives you that silky feel of the water. It's a nighttime shot, and it's also a water shot. So this works well. So that's using a tripod. Okay. Now, fire. You think that taking fireworks needs a fast lens? No, this is a picture that is taken. These are the fireworks taken here in Artesia. Okay, and as you can see, this was taken for 15 seconds. Okay, 15 seconds. So that is one of the things that you can control. Okay. Now, um, I'm going to give you, before I go to ISO, I told you I have a few photos. Just to give you an example of, so I, this is an example of my art prints. So I don't know if this will come out. So that's what you saw earlier. I beware of gloves because these are sensitive to acid. But as you can see, but I'm gonna show you an example. Okay, water. Because the shot, this is nighttime, and I was using a tripod, and my feet were freezing because already in Central California, and the water was very cold. But in order for you to have that effect of silky water, the shutter speed, there's the worry while the rest is sharp, because that's taken with a very slow shutter speed. So, now next we're talking about, this is the last one that I'm going to talk about, and this is a little bit technical, but this is also very important. I told you earlier, this is a checklist, and for me, it is in order of importance, because uh, if you want to take a photo, then you just take a ISO does not really matter for the medium. In fact, uh, as a self-trained photography, I feel that this is one thing that is holding me back uh, as someone who is venture in video, because I still have my bias against ISO, but it's very important. Okay, ISO, okay, speaks about. It's also known before, when for those who are using film, it's also known as an ASA, or DIN for film users. It's light sensitivity. Okay, that means the higher the number, the more sensitive to the light. However, if a camera is too sensitive to light, the quality suffers. So the best quality is achieved with the base number. So usually, cameras will tell you that the base number, the lowest number, will be usually 100, and some cameras will say 200. So the higher number, the more sensitive it is. Now we have new cameras that are sensitive to light, but um, uh, as you see, higher number is the sun, and maybe later if you have, if you want to have a lot of the photo you have taken, also consider ISO. So this photo that I have here is ISO 400. Yes, that we right now ISO 400 is just very natural right now. You don't consider that. But if you're gonna close up on that picture, it's very grainy because that was a very very new uh, digital cameras were very new, so the sensors were not that good. So this is from a camera that's 18 years ago. Okay, this is a 2002 model. It's a point and shoot camera. So that's one of them. So I wish I used a lower setting so that there will be less grain. Now, but then sometimes you don't have a choice. This is in San Sebastian in Spain. Um, for travelers, one of the best places to eat in the world is in San Sebastian in Spain. Okay? So that is a Basque restaurant where they serve traditional Basque food. And one of the things, a um, excuse me, uh, it's a place where they have apple cider, and then they serve you just hearty meals. The selection is very simple, but the heart of that will be the apple cider is pouring, and you cannot take that photo if you're. I'm using that same old camera, but so I used all the tricks that I have to make sure that I get it because the camera is very old. So it's a 1600 ISO. It's very very high. The speed is 1/5 of a second, and it's an f3.5. So that's already a very very hard. No, I'm not going to auction my photos, Vina. I'm not going to auction my photos here. No, that'll be a not now. I won't be auctioning the photos. Uh, so that's another example of a high ISO. So the reason why I'm saying this is for those who want to expand their photography, you have to consider ISO as one of the ways that you can tweak your camera to get the image that you want. Okay, if there's no light, you can try to bump up your ISO. But what if it's too bright? Okay? Sometimes some cameras allow you to even lower your ISO. Okay? And one of those examples will be this. Oops, no. That's not it. That's already saying goodbye. Wrong button again. Okay. You can see that there's nothing spectacular about this photo. Well, it's actually the photo I showed you is a printed one. You see that this is a uh, 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 something from the Philippine Tatler. So it's one of it's a glossy magazine, and so I was featured. That's me, and I took that photo. A company sponsored the shoot, so that's the photo. Okay. Um, okay. You see that the water. This is the sea, but you can see that the water is very calm. In order for me to get that calm photo, I had to use all the tricks that I have in order for the camera to be able to take a photo with 2 seconds. first I lowered the ISO, then I placed filters that will darken the camera. So low ISO also has features for you to be able to lengthen your exposures. Okay? So that's another example of how to where ISO plays. So there you are. You have today um, been part of our um, Photography 101, also known as the Fishy Cats and Silly Images uh, presentation. Good photos, you have focus, composition, aperture, shutter speed, and ISO. So there you are. So those are my basic tips for photography. I hope that you liked it. Okay, so that also gives you a preview of my own photos. Okay, so uh, probably we might have. I'm thinking of making an exhibit. People had invited me already from the parish to exhibit 7 years ago. Uh, so uh, that was during the time before I got here that um, people photographer. Before I became a pastor, I am a priest and a photographer. So you saw that picture. This is one for. These were published already. These are. I hope you can see photos if you can see them. Okay. And yeah, uh, this page. Yep. Okay, and also the back page. Okay, so you see that that photo I showed you, the last photo I showed you um, in the presentation. I just moved the camera and the change image, and this is what you see. Okay. Um, okay, where is that? Wrong. Go with the one of composition. Okay. So yeah. Uh, so this no this one. This one. Then I just shifted the position, and this is what I got. Okay. So move your camera. Exhibit na yan. So there you are. So maybe that's the reason why people ask me to exhibit because I had already a few exhibits in the past. So I have not done an exhibit here yet. And usually my exhibit is somebody else curates the photos. Now, this time, I will have to curate the photos myself. Okay, so there you are. I hope you learned something. It's already of our uh, library of video, so you can go back to this video if you want to learn something about photography. And you next time that we have our math 6 o'clock, our to math our quarantine fest ends. So, everyone, God bless you, and I hope to see you in a short while. For those who are curious, that is also a photo I took during the festival of 2013.